Hare Krishna, dear devotees. So we're still looking at the 12 Mahajan series. Our remaining last Mahajan in the series of 12 different Mahajans is Yamaraj. So just a little recap. So we were earlier on studying about the 12 personalities mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam who are empowered and can deliver the transcendental message of the Lord to us, the conditioned souls of this world. So by listening to the instructions of the Mahajans, by following in their footsteps, we can achieve perfection in this very lifetime and go back to the eternal abode of Krishna. So in this series we have Yamaraj. So who is Yamaraj? Sometimes he is called Dharmaraj. He is the superintendent of death and justice. And he, as we know, there are different demigods in this material world who are empowered by the Lord to carry out different services. So there are different departments, and this is the department of justice. As in our society, we have courts, we have the judge who judges the criminals and who judges the people. In the same way, Yamaraj or Dharmaraj, he is the supreme judge. He is the one who will decide how the different living entities at the end of their life, how they need to be rewarded, or whether they need to be punished or reformed. So who is Yamaraj? He is the son of Vivasvan, and we know that Vivasvan is the sun demigod. So he is the son of the sun demigod. He has a secretary called Chitragupta, and this is a very, very well-known secretary. Everyone knows about Chitragupta. He keeps record of the activities of the soul, and he has so every good thing, every bad thing that the soul, that the living being does in a particular body, Chitragupta carefully notes down. He has associates, so Yamaraj has associates called Chanda, Mahachanda, and he has messengers called the Yamadutas, and he also has 2 fierce dogs with 4 eyes. So Yamaraj, if you're wondering what he looks like, you can see on the right, Yamaraj is grayish. His body is grayish, and he wears red garments and a golden crown. And what's his carrier? He rides a buffalo. And what's he carrying in his hands? So he's not carrying a lotus flower, as in the case of Lord Vishnu, or he's not blessing people. He carries a noose, stick, sword, or a knife. So Yamaraj, he has an abode. His abode is called Samyamani. He sits on a throne in the court. You can see him on the left. So he decides what kind of body the living entity will get according to one's past actions. So Yamaraj, he has a terrifying appearance, and his roar is thunderous for the sinful souls. But for the pious, for the devotees, his appearance is very different. He is very handsome, like the Vishnu Dutas, and he has a smile and he welcomes the devotees. Because let us remember that Yamaraj, he is a great devotee of the Lord. He is a Mahajan, and he likes to he worships the Supreme Lord, and he loves it when he's invited to kirtans and sacrifices by the pure devotees who are constantly engaged in devotional service of the Lord. So whenever the demigods are organizing fire sacrifice or a kirtan, they always invite Yamaraj, because he as a devotee also yearns to hear the pastimes of the Lord. Yamaraj he has a very thankless task, a very difficult task of punishing souls, of punishing the living entities, but he doesn't like to do it, but that's his allocated duty, and he's not a bad person. He simply wants to serve the Lord, and he serves the Lord in this way by punishing the wrongdoers. It is said that Yamaraj, he has very little time to take a break from his office because he's so busy punishing the wrongdoers. Why? Because there are more wrongdoers than righteous men. Therefore, Yamaraj, he has to do a lot more work than other demigods who are also working for the same Supreme Lord. So Yamaraj is one of the 12 Mahajans. He's a very exalted personality like all the others. And being a Mahajan, Yamaraj, actually, he also wants to preach devotional service. He wants to preach the cult of devotion to the people of the world, just as Narad Muni, Brahma, and other Mahajans do. And Prabhupada says, unfortunately, he doesn't have very much time to do that. But we know that, we'll see that later, that actually the Supreme Lord blessed him so his desire of preaching the glories of the Lord came true in the form of, when Yamaraj came to this material world, in the form of Vidura. So we'll look at that later on. But for now, let us see what happens. How does Yamaraj come to take a soul away from the body? So Yamaraj, he lives in a particular planet. He lives in a planet that is hundreds of thousands of miles away from the planet Earth. So there he brings all these corrupt souls after death. So corrupt souls who have been up to no good. He takes them there to his planet to give them, to punish them for having carried out sinful activities. So every living being is covered, it is said by the scriptures. Every living being, every living entity is covered by a gross body that we can see and a subtle body. The gross body we know is made of the material elements of water, fire, air, ether. And the subtle body is the covering of the mind, ego, intelligence, and consciousness. And it is said in the scriptures that the Yamadutas, the officers working for Yamaraj, they cover the subtle body of the culprit, of the living entity, and they take him to the abode of Yamaraj to be punished in a way that he is able to tolerate. So the souls, when they're taken to the abode, they don't die from this punishment. Because if they died, then who would suffer the punishment? So the Yamadutas, it's not their business to kill, to put one to death. In fact, Prabhupada says in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is not possible to kill a living entity because we know what Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, that the soul is eternal, cannot be moistened, cannot be killed by any weapon, cannot be dried, cannot be burnt. So the living entity is eternal, but he has to suffer the consequence of his activities of sense gratification. And it is described that when Yamaraj and his Yamadutas take a living entity away to the place of judgment, the life air, and desires will also go with the living entity, because these are the life air, and the desires, they are followers of the living entity, so they will also go with Yamaraj. And this is confirmed in the Vedas. So when the living entity is taken away or arrested by Yamaraj, the life air also goes with him. And when the life air is gone, all the senses will also go along. And when the living entity and the life air are gone, then the lump of matter, which is our gross body, produced of the 5 elements of water, fire, and ether, is rejected and is left behind. And so that's what we see as the corpse. So the person is there, the body is there, but the person is dead. So because what's left behind after the Yamadutas have taken the life, air, and the life, and the desires, just the gross body. So the living entity then goes to the court of judgment, and Yamaraj decides what kind of body he is going to get next. And this is a process that modern science cannot explain. Nobody has seen all of this happen. We can understand this from the scriptures. So modern scientists are still trying to figure out what death is, but it's all there in the scriptures. Every living entity is responsible for his activities in this life, and after death he is taken to the court of Yamaraj, who decides what kind of body he will take next, in accordance with one's past actions. So that's what's there in the scriptures. And once so in the Srimad Bhagavatam, Maharaj Parikshit inquires from Shukadev Goswami. He says, my dear Lord, are the hellish regions outside the universe, within the covering of the universe, or in different places on this planet? So in the Bhagavatam, it is described that there are hellish planets. And so what is the abode of Yamaraj? Yamaraj is the king of the Pitas. He resides in Pitralok with his assistants. And so we can see here, let's see if we can see Pitralok in this picture on the left. So it is not really visible here, but there is a planet called Pitralok, and that's where Yamaraj resides, and that's where all the Yamadutas bring all the sinful men upon their death. So Maharaj Parikshit has inquired about the hellish regions because after all these sinful people are brought to Yamaraj, he judges them according to their sinful activities, and he sends them to one of the many hellish planets for suitable punishments. And so after Maharaj Parikshit inquired from Shukadev Goswami about the hellish planets, and he inquired, where are these hellish regions? Are they outside the universe, within the covering, or in different places on this planet? So the great sage Shukadev Goswami answered in Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned 5.26.5, all the hellish planets are situated in the intermediate space between the free worlds and the Garbhodaka ocean. So we know the Garbhodaka ocean covers up a large portion of every universe, a material universe. And so it is, so the hellish planets are on the southern side of the universe, in the intermediate space between the free worlds and the Garbhodaka ocean. They lie on the southern side of the universe between Bhumandala and slightly above the water of the Garbhodaka ocean. And Pitraloka is also mentioned, is located in the region between the Garbhodaka ocean and the lower planetary systems. So here at the bottom would be the lower planetary systems. We have lower planetary system, middle. So here, so middle is the earthly realm that we can see here, and higher would be all these wonderful planetary systems, with the topmost being Brahmaloka. So those above the earth would be the upper planetary systems, and here is the earthly realm, and below the earth are some planets. And Pataloka is here, and Pitraloka is also there, although it's not indicated. And so Pitraloka is there between the Garbhodaka ocean and the lower planetary systems like Mahatala, Sutala. All the residents of Pitraloka, headed by Agnisvata, it is said, meditate in great samadhi on the Supreme Personality of Godhead and always wish their families well. So the king of the Pitas who reside in the Pitraloka is Yamaraj. We already mentioned he is the son of the sun god. So some authorities, it is mentioned, say that there is a total of 21 hellish planets, and some of them say 28. So Shukadeva Goswami says, he continues, "My dear king, I shall outline all of them according to their names, forms, and symptoms." The names of the different hells are as follows. So we have Dameshwara, Andha Dameshwara, Raurava, Maharorava, Kumbhikpaka, Kalasutra, Asipatravan, Sukara Mukha, Andhakupa, Krmi Bhojana, Sandamsha, Tapta Surmi, Vajrakantaka, Shalmali, Vaitarani, Puyoda, Pranarodha, Vishasana, Lala Bhaksha, Sarameyadana, Avichi, Ayapana, Kshara Kardama, Rakshogana Bhojana, Shula Prota, Dandaka Shuka, Avata Nirodhana, Paryavartana, Shuchimukha. All these planets, Shukadeva Goswami says, all these planets are meant for punishing the living entities. Now, I will very briefly maybe mention a few things that happen. These are really horrible things that happen in these hellish planets, and that's why we call them hellish. There is no time in this session to mention what happens on each and every of those hellish planets, but we will look at a few of them in a minute. Some people may say this is not true. Some unbelievers, they don't accept these statements of scripture that regarding the hell. They disregard such authorized descriptions. But Lord Kapila also confirms them. We know Lord Kapila is one of the Mahajans. He is a form of the Supreme Lord, and he's a Supreme Lord who appeared to give enlightenment to his mother Devahuti. So Lord Kapila also confirms them by saying that these hellish conditions, they are actually also visible on this very planet. It is not that they are only on the planet where Yamaraj lives. On the planet of Yamaraj, the sinful man is given the chance to practice living in the hellish conditions, which he will have to endure in the next life. and then he is given a chance to take birth on another planet to continue his hellish life. For example, if a man is to be punished to remain in hell and eat, say, stool and urine, then first of all he practices such habits on the planet of Yamaraj, and then he's given a particular type of body, that of a pig, so he can eat stool and think that he's enjoying life. Prabhupada mentions in his purport, it is stated previously that in any hellish condition, the conditioned soul thinks he is happy, otherwise it would not be possible for him to suffer a hellish life. So this is Prabhupada's statement in the Srimad Bhagavatam 3:30-29. It is said that sometimes the living entity is forced to give up his body and enter another one according to the judgment of Yamaraj. It is difficult, however, for the conditioned soul to enter another body unless the present body is dead, is annihilated through burning, for cremation, or some other means, maybe burying of the dead body. That's because the living entity has attachment for this present body and he does not want to enter another body. So in the meantime, when he has left this present body and he hasn't entered another body, he remains, so the soul remains as a ghost. We will see a little section of the Srimad Bhagavatam where this happens and where Yamaraj appears and gives solace to the relatives of the dead. But before that, let's take a look at the different hellish planets. And although it's really horrendous, it is always good to know what happens there as per the scriptures. So let's see. So according to Srimad Bhagavatam, so there are different planets, and let's take a look at them. So it is said, so for example, if an envious person commits violent acts against many living entities, it is said that after his death he's taken to a hell where living entities who were hurt by him appear as animals called rurus to inflict very severe pain upon him. And learned scholars, it is mentioned in the Srimad Bhagavatam, learned scholars call this hell Rorava, because the ruru animals, they are more envious than a snake. Now a person who appropriates, who steals somebody else's wife, children, or money is arrested at the time of death by the fierce Yamadutas, who bind him with the rope of time and forcibly throw him into the hellish planet known as Tamishra. On this very dark planet, the sinful man is chastised by the Yamadutas, who beat him and rebuke him. He is starved and is given no water to drink. And thus the wrathful assistants of Yamaraj cause him severe suffering, and sometimes he faints from their chastisement. Let's see what happens to a sinful king or a government representative who punishes an innocent person, or who inflicts punishment upon a Brahmin. He is taken to the hell named Sukara Mukha, where the most powerful assistants of Yamaraj crush him exactly as one crushes sugarcane to squeeze out the juice. The sinful living entity cries very pitiably and faints. just like an innocent man undergoing punishments. And this is the result of punishing a faultless person. Srimad Bhagavatam 5:26-16. It is said that if in this life a man of higher classes like a Brahmin, a Kshatriya and a Vaishya, so if a man is very fond of taking his dogs, asses, into the forest to hunt and kill animals unnecessarily, he is placed into the hell known as Pranaroda. There, the assistants of Yamaraj make him their targets and pierce him with arrows. So, in this world, some persons are professional plunderers who set fire to others' houses or administer poison to them. Also, members of the royalty or government officials sometimes they plunder men by forcing them to pay income tax and by other methods. After death, such demons are put into a hell known as Saramayadana. On that planet, there are 720 dogs with teeth as strong as thunderbolts. Under the order of the agents of Yamaraj, these dogs voraciously devour such sinful people. A person who in this life bears false witness or lies while doing a business or giving charity is severely punished after death by the agents of Yamaraj. Such a sinful man, it is mentioned in the Bhagavatam, is taken to the top of a mountain 800 miles high and thrown headfirst into the hell known as Avichimat. This hell has no shelter, and it's made of strong stone resembling the waves of water. There is no water there, however, and thus it is called Avichimat, waterless. Although the sinful man is repeatedly thrown from the mountain and his body broken into tiny pieces, he still does not die, but continuously suffers chastisement. Any Brahmin or Brahmin's wife who drinks liquor is taken by the agents of Yamaraj to the hell known as Ayapana. This hell also awaits any Kshatriya, Vaishya, or person under a vow who, in illusion, drinks somaras. So, intoxication, liquors, intoxicants. In Ayapana, the agents of Yamaraj stand on their chests and pour hot melted iron into their mouths. So there are so many different hellish planets and so many different ways in which living entities are punished. But because we don't have much time and the session is on Yamaraj and not the hellish planets, we'll just move on now to the instructions of Yamaraj to the Yamadutas. So who are the people who Yamaraj will collect? We know they're sinful people, we've understood, but there are certain categories of living entities that Yamaraj will not approach. Neither will his Yamadutas approach. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 6th canto, 3rd chapter, 29th verse, Yamaraj, the superintendent of death, tells his assistants what class of men they should bring before him. He states, my dear servants, please bring to me those sinful persons who do not use their tongues to chant the holy name and qualities of Krishna, whose hearts do not remember the lotus feet of Krishna even once, and whose heads do not bow down even once before Lord Krishna. Send me those who do not perform their duties towards Vishnu, which are the only duties in human life. Please bring me all such fools and rascals. So we understand, therefore, the contrary applies. So those people who chant the holy name of Krishna, whose hearts are always in remembrance of Krishna's lotus feet, whose heads are bowing down to offer obeisances, who are performing all their duties towards Vishnu, Yamaraj or the Yamadutas will never approach them. A description of Krishna's power in minimizing the sufferings of sinful reactions is given in Brahma Samhita as follows. Beginning from the great King of Heaven down to the ant, everyone is undergoing the reactions of past deeds. But a devotee of Krishna is relieved from such reactions by the grace of Krishna. And this was clearly proved when Krishna went to the place of Yamaraj, the Lord of Death, to reclaim the dead son of his teacher. Once in Krishna Leela, we remember Krishna's teacher, Sandipani Muni, as Dakshina, had requested Krishna to bring back his dead son. And so Krishna, wanting to please his guru, went to Yamaraj's abode to claim that soul who had been brought there by Yamaraj and who was being kept under his control. Krishna immediately ordered Yamaraj, "Be benefited by my order and return that soul unto me." So the purport of this incident is that even a person who is under the regulative principles of the laws of nature and is therefore punishable by Yamaraj under these laws, even that person can be granted protection, immunity by the grace of Krishna. It is mentioned in the Nectar of Devotion. So devotees of the Lord, because the Lord is the master of Yamaraj, devotees of the Lord who are worshipping him, they are protected from Yamaraj. In the Skanda Puran, there is a statement praising Tulsi tree as follows. "Let me offer my respectful obeisances unto the Tulsi tree, which can immediately vanquish volumes of sinful activities. Simply by seeing or touching this tree, one can become relieved from all distresses and diseases. Simply by offering obeisances to and pouring water on the Tulsi tree, one can become freed from the fear of being sent to the court of Yamaraj, the King of Death, who punishes the sinful. If someone sows a Tulsi tree somewhere, certainly he becomes devoted to Lord Krishna. And when the Tulsi leaves are offered in devotion at the lotus feet of Krishna, there is the full development of love of Godhead." So we can see that by worshipping Tulsi Devi, we become free from the fear of being sent to the abode of Yamaraj. It is said that Yamaraj stays miles away from a Tulsi tree. The Yamadutas stay very, very far away because they are afraid of offending the Lord by approaching the devotees of the Lord. There is a similar statement in the Skanda Puran which says, persons who are decorated with tilak or gopi chandan. So gopi chandan is a kind of clay which is produced in certain parts of Vrindavan. So people who decorate with tilak or gopi chandan and who mark their bodies all over with the holy names of the Lord, and on whose necks and breasts there are tulsi beads, it is said, are never approached by the Yamadutas. Vaishnavas are never called for by such constables of Yamaraj. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the narration of Ajamil's deliverance, it is said that Yamaraj gave clear instructions to his assistants not to approach the Vaishnavas. So the Vaishnavas, they are beyond the jurisdiction of Yamaraj's activities, as we can see here. So there is a very nice story illustrating how a person chanting the holy name cannot be touched by the Yamadutas. And it is a story from the Srimad Bhagavatam of a Brahmin called Ajamil. So in a place called Kanyakubja, there lived a gentle and learned Brahmin named Ajamil. He was respectful and kind towards everyone and completely free from bad qualities. One day, Ajamil's father told him to collect some fruits and flowers from the forest for worship. On his way back home, he saw an unusual vulgar scene of a shameless man hugging a maidservant publicly. Both the man and the woman were drunk, their eyes were rolling in intoxication, and their dresses were loose. Seeing their inappropriate behavior, Ajamil was disturbed mentally. He tried to remember the scriptural injunctions, but his mind went out of control. He left the spot, but the scene was haunting him. He desired to marry that woman, although he had already a beautiful young wife coming from a respectable family. So Jamil's mind was covered with the thoughts of that bad lady. He lost all his good sense and he became determined to be with her. And so, within a short time, he brought her as a servant into his house. He was so captivated by her so-called beauty that he started spending his money to buy her various presentations so that she would remain pleased with him. So gradually, Ajamil lost all Brahminical principles. He abandoned his chaste wife and parents. A Brahmin is meant to please Lord Krishna, but Ajamil strove to fulfill the desires of a woman. So Ajamil married that sinful lady and he ate food cooked by her. So by eating her remnants, he became impure and addicted to sinful activities. He would plunder people, cheat them in gambling in order to earn his livelihood and maintain his children. As a result, he became a fraud, a burglar, and a drunkard. He led an irresponsible life, and thus 88 years of his life passed. And Ajamil had 10 sons. Fortunately, by the mercy of some devotee, he named his youngest son Narayan. Narayan was naturally very dear to his parents. Ajamil took great pleasure in his broken language and childish activities. With deep attachment and affection, Ajamil would often call out, "Narayan, Narayan," repeatedly. When he would eat, he would call the child, "Narayan, come and sit, eat this food." When he would drink, he would call, "Narayan, come and drink this juice." Thus, always taking care of the child, he didn't notice the passage of time. Eventually, old Ajamil became diseased and was neglected by his wife. Finally, when he was on his deathbed, he saw 3 terrifying personalities with twisted faces and erect hairs. They were the Yamadutas, the soldiers of Lord Yama, who would award suitable punishments to sinful people in hell. Ajamil had committed many sins with his mind, his body, and his words. Therefore, 3 Yamadutas came to him. Because he committed sins with his body, his mind, and his words, Yamaraj sent 3 guards. 3 Yamadutas came to him with ropes to drag him to hell. Frightened, with tears in his eyes, Ajamil loudly called his son, "Narayan, Narayan," who was playing nearby. Unfortunately, the boy did not have the maturity to understand his father's situation and anxiety. Although the child, Narayan, did not respond to Ajamil's cries, Lord Narayan did. Ajamil had neglected to worship the Lord all these days, But the Lord's heart melted, hearing him calling out his name helplessly. The Lord mercifully sent his servants, the Vishnu Dutas, to rescue him. Because dying Ajamil chanted 4 syllables of God's name, Na, Ra, Ya, Na, 4 Vishnu Dutas came to help him. What did the Vishnu Dutas do? They saved Ajamil from the Yamadutas. There was a fight between both parties, between the Yamadutas and the Vishnu Dutas. So we can see the grace of the Lord here is that he's always merciful to his devotees. And even if the devotee commits mistakes sometimes, the Supreme Lord always finds a reason, direct or indirect, to shower his mercy on these devotees. So we can see Ajamil was calling Narayan. He meant his son, but the Supreme Lord, he showered his grace. So that's such as the potency of the holy name, that even if we chant it unknowingly, still it is fully potent. So as the Yamadutas were snatching the soul from the core of Ajamil's heart, the Vishnu Dutas stopped them. They threatened the Yamadutas with resounding voices. If you want to live, do not take away this devotee Ajamil. The Yamadutas were astonished to see and hear the Vishnu Dutas. The Vishnu Dutas looked very fresh and beautiful in yellow silk garments. Their faces were glowing with lotus-like eyes and dazzling crowns. Their 4 long arms held maces, bows, quivers of arrows, swords, clubs, conches, chakras, and lotus flowers. They were also decorated with lotus garlands and jewelry. Their effulgence dissipated all darkness. The Yamadutas, they had power over all sinful people, but the Vishnu Dutas were capable of punishing anyone, including the Yamadutas, and even Yamaraj if he did wrong to a devotee of Vishnu. The Yamadutas, they had never been obstructed by anyone before, so they asked the Vishnu Dutas, "Who are you? Are you some devotees? Why are you forbidding us of our duty? We are soldiers of Yama, the Lord of Death." So the Vishnu Dutas smiled, and they replied gravely, "You claim to be servants of Yama, but you seem to be mere ghosts. If you are the servants of Yama, then explain what is dharma and what is adharma. What is the process of punishing sinful people?" The Yamadutas replied, "The Vedas are given to humanity directly by Lord Narayan. Therefore, what is prescribed in the Vedas is called dharma, and the opposite of what's in the Vedas is adharma. The sun, fire, sky, air, devatas, moon, evening, day, night, water, the supersoul, and Yama himself witness the activities of all living beings. Therefore, the candidates for punishment are those who are confirmed by these witnesses to have performed adharma, irreligious activities. Ajamil performed many sinful acts without undergoing any atonement, so we must take him to hell, where he will be punished." The Vishnu Dutas replied, "Ajamil has atoned for millions of lifetimes of sins just by uttering the name of Narayan helplessly when he saw you. Even previously, whenever he called his son, he uttered the holy name of Narayan affectionately. By such chanting, although done unintentionally, he is purified of all his sinful reactions. That is the power of chanting the Lord's holy name. Simply by chanting the name of Vishnu, even sinful persons attract the attention of the Lord, who enthusiastically gives him all protection. Therefore, do not take a camel to hell. By chanting the name of Narayan, he is free from all sinful reaction. So we can see that even if we unintentionally unconsciously chant the holy name of the Lord, it purifies us from all the sins. We can imagine what will be the result of chanting the holy names of the Lord with love, as the Vaishnavis do. So the Vishnudutas continued, a person who chants the name of the Lord while falling, slipping, traveling in pain, or being injured will not suffer hellish punishment. As a fire burns dry grasses to ashes, the Lord's holy name burns all sinful reactions, whether chanted knowingly or unknowingly. Just as powerful medicine acts even when taken without the knowledge of its powers, the Lord's holy name is effective even when the chanter utters it unknowingly. Having thus established the fact that Ajamil was purified of all the sins, the Yamadutas released Ajamil from imminent death, and thus defeated the Yamadutas. They left to inform their master Yamaraj about the incident. So although almost unconscious, Ajamil he still heard the conversation between the Yamadutas and the Vishnudutas. While the Yamadutas spoke ordinary principles of punishing a sinful person, the Vishnudutas spoke extraordinary principles of forgiveness and mercy upon a person who chanted the Lord's holy name. So Ajamil bowed his head at the feet of the Vishnudutas. Just as he was about to say something, the Vishnudutas suddenly disappeared, and Ajamil began to repent for his sinful life, and he spoke in self-reproach. He said, "Alas, I acted so sinfully, and I degraded my family tradition. I should be thrown into hell for my sins. But those effulgent men saved me from the fearsome men who came with ropes to arrest me. Was it a dream or reality? Where have they gone? I must have seen them due to some previous spiritual activities." So Ajamil's heart became overwhelmed with gratitude for the Vishnudutas, and he made the resolve that, okay, I've been given the second chance, I will now give up my degraded habits, and I will perform devotional service unto Lord Narayan, and I will chant his names with love and affection. So he went to Haridwar, where he performed bhakti unto Vishnu with full dedication. And after living a pure spiritual life for 12 years, Ajamil gave up his material body on the banks of the river Ganga, and he attained a spiritual body appropriate to that of an associate of Lord Vishnu. He boarded the golden airplane accompanied by the Vishnudutas, and he went to Vaikuntha. And so we can see the mercy of the Lord here in this ticket. Now, what happened to the Yamadutas? So being defeated by the Vishnudutas, the Yamadutas approached Yamaraj in frustration, because Lord Yama did not protect them while they were executing his orders to arrest Ajamil. They felt there was no need to serve such a master. They even had some doubts whether Yamaraj had the power to punish the sinful, or if there was some authority superior to him. So these Yamadutas then spoke to Yama. They asked, how many managers are there to punish sinful people? If multiple judges have multiple opinions on how to punish or reward people, there will be a lot of chaos and confusion. We actually thought you were the only punisher of all the sinful human beings, but your order has been transgressed by 4 wonderful persons. They had cut our ropes when we were bringing sinful Ajamil to hell. When Ajamil chanted Narayan, these 4 men quickly came and saved him. Can you tell us who they are? Instead of being angry with his soldiers who spoke in a challenging spirit, Yamaraj was pleased to hear the holy name of Lord Narayan from them. Thus, remembering his beloved Lord, he said, "My dear soldiers, Lord Vishnu is the supreme. He is superior to me and all the devotees, including Brahma. He is the creator of everyone and everything in this universe. The 4 people you saw were his servants, the Vishnu dutas. They are almost like the Lord, worshipped even by the devotees. Common people very rarely see them. They protect the Lord's devotees from enemies and all difficulties." Yamaraj, he described explicitly the good qualities of the Vishnu dutas to convince his servants not to be envious of them. The Yamadutas asked, "If they protect the devotees, why are they favoring a dharma by saving a sinful man like Ajamil?" Yamaraj answered, "No one can perfectly understand dharma except the Mahajans or the pure devotees. The ultimate dharma of a living being is to perform devotional service unto the Lord. Bhakti begins by chanting the holy name of the Lord. There is no need to search for proof. Ajamil is a direct example. Although sinful, Ajamil was liberated from the ropes of death just by chanting the name of Narayan." So Yamaraj continued, "Those who perform bhakti unto Lord Vishnu or Krishna or Ram or any other form of God are beyond my jurisdiction for punishment. Even if they sin, they are protected by chanting the Lord's holy name. So never, please, never try to arrest devotees. They are constantly protected by the Lord's club called the Kaumudaki. Therefore, Lord Brahma, I, and even the time factor cannot punish them." After thus cautioning the Yamadutas, Yamaraj instructed them whom to bring to hell. And we've seen that already here in Srimad Bhagavatam 6:329. So, considering himself and his servants to be offenders, Yamaraj begged forgiveness from the Lord. "O Lord Narayan, please forgive us. Because of our ignorance, we mistreated your devotee, Ajamil. Since then," as soon as the Yamadutas saw devotees of Lord Vishnu or Krishna, they became fearful and they didn't look at them again. So this is a wonderful, wonderful story of the lessons learned by the Yamadutas and how Yamaraj he gave instructions of who to approach and who not to approach. And there's another beautiful story called The 4 Letters Sent by Yamaraj, which is very instructive. So let us hear that beautiful story. So I don't have slides for it, but I will still tell this wonderful story here. So there was a man by the name of Amrit living on earth. And he thought to himself that the one thing he feared most was death. To avoid death, Amrita practiced austerities. He concentrated his mind upon Lord Yama, the Lord of Death. So Lord Yama became pleased and he granted a vision to Amrita. Lord Yama said, "My presence is only available to those who are about to die or already dead. Yet, I grant you my vision while you're still living. pleased by your penances." So Amrita, seeing Yamaraj, said, "I ask this favor of you. If death is inevitable, I ask that if I am to die, then at least send me a letter before death, so that I can make proper provision for my family before departure, and also prepare myself for the next life with proper sadhana and worship of Krishna." So Lord Yamaraj said, "Sure, I shall certainly do this, but as soon as you get the message, please set about making the preparations." And he disappeared. Many years passed after this, and Amrita's hair began gradually to turn grey, but he was living a life full of sinful activities, with not a thought about the fear of death. He was pleased that so far no letters had arrived from the Lord of Death. Some Vaishnavas approached him and advised him to take to devotional service, but he did not heed to their instructions, as he thought so much time was left. Some more years passed by. By this time, Amrita had lost most of his teeth, and the devotees came again to warn him about his imminent death. Still, he did not bother, because no letter had come from his friend Yamaraj. As the years rolled by, Amrita's eyesight became dimmer. However, he continued his sensual life, thanking his friend Yamaraj for not sending any letters so far. Some more years passed by. Amrita was now a very old man, and with his back bent forward, he could not walk without the support of a walking stick. His skin was all wrinkled. One day he suffered a stroke and became paralyzed. People said his condition was very critical. But Amrit was still in a happy frame of mind, since he had not received any letter from Yamaraj. Then his destined end of life came, and Lord Yama, the god of death, entered the room. Amrita was startled, and his mind was seized with fear. Yamaraj said, "My friend, come now. You have suffered greatly. Today I have come to take you with me." Amrita trembled in fear and said, "My friend, you have betrayed me by breaking your boon. You have not sent me any letter as you promised. Now, all of a sudden, you're taking me from this world. You are a cheater." Lord Yama said, "Amrita, you spent all your life in sense indulgence with no interest in spiritual life. How then could you know the letters I sent you? Not one, but 4 letters I did send to you, but you ignored all of them." Amrita was greatly puzzled. "4 letters did you send? But not even 1 letter reached me. It is just possible that the postman, the courier person, forgot to deliver it." Lord Yama said, "My dear friend, do you think I will take a paper and pen and write a letter to you? No, with your body as paper, with the pen of bodily changes, I wrote my letters, and time is the messenger who delivered those letters. Years ago, your hair turned grey. That was my first letter. You ignored it. Falling of your teeth was my second letter. My third letter was sent to you when your eyesight failed. The 4th message was when your body became paralyzed. You comfortably ignored all these letters. Now I have come, not as your friend, but as the dispenser of the laws of God." And Yamaraj tied the rope around Amrita's neck and pulled it hard. People around Amrita said, Oh, Amrita is now dead. So what is the morale of this story? There is a lot we can learn here. We understand that when our body is young and hale in good health, we don't get any letter from Yamaraj. We should still start our preparations for facing his lethal blow. When we completely ignore his letters, then we come under his control. Different people are afraid of different things in life. However, in general, fear of death is common to all. Some people may boast that they are not scared of death. However, when they get some fatal disease and they get paralyzed, or in case of dangers, fear of death will be immediately visible in their eyes. There is no there is no material solution to this attack of Yamaraj and his punishments after death. So all the death is formidable, it's unconquerable. Shripad Shankaracharya, one of the great acharyas of the Vedantic tradition, he gives a very simple solution to avoid interviewing with Yamaraj. He says in a shloka, the translation is, if a person reads a little Bhagavad Gita, takes a little drop of Ganges water, performs worship to Murari Shri Krishna at least once in his lifetime, then he does not have to face an interview with Yamaraj. And Srila Prabhupada's program of chanting and hearing and offering obeisances to the Supreme Lord will empower us to escape the punishment of Yamaraj. Simply by chanting the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, which Krishna himself gave us 500 years ago, we can become fearless. Because the Maha Mantra can burn to ashes all our sinful reactions, more than we can possibly commit. So that was a beautiful story, which tells us we should start as soon as we can. We should engage in bhakti yoga, not wait until the end of our life. Now, there is a wonderful story about how Yamaraj got cursed to become the son of a maidservant. So he was cursed to descend from his planet into this material world. He came as Vidura, who is in Krishna Lila, the great personality Vidura. So we'll hear about that now. So this is the story of how Yamaraj was cursed to come down to earth. Once upon a time, the state police were chasing some thieves, searching everywhere. They caught the thieves who had concealed themselves in the hermitage of a sage named Manduka Muni. The policemen arrested all the thieves and also Manduka Muni and presented them in front of the magistrate. The magistrate decided punishment for the thieves and even Manduka Muni. He ordered that Manduka Muni be killed by piercing him with a lance. This is the punishment of piercing a man's rectum with a lance that passes up to his head, thus killing the person. It's a very horrible death. When Manduka Muni was just about to be pierced with the lance, the news reached the king. And the king at once he came there and he stopped the punishment, thinking that Manduka was a sage. So the king, he begged forgiveness from Manduka for the mistake of his men. Manduka Muni immediately went to Yamaraj, the Lord of Death. So Manduka Muni questioned Yamaraj, why was I mistreated in this way? What was the reason for arranging such a punishment to me? Yamaraj replied, "My dear sage, in your childhood, you had pierced an ant with a sharp thorn. For that reason, you are now put into this difficulty." Manduka Muni said, "How could you fix such a severe punishment for an act that I did out of childish innocence? I was just a child at that time, and you are punishing me for this? It is quite unwise on your part. I curse you for being born as a low-class person, for your unreasonable judgment." Now, this sage Manduka Muni was a very powerful sage, and the curse was so powerful too. Therefore, Yamaraj took birth as Vidura, the son of a maidservant on this earth. So we know that he's one of the prominent personalities in the Mahabharata, and we can see that although Yamaraj was a great devotee of the Lord, he was still cursed in this way. So what does it tell us? It tells us that this is the position of living entities. Anyone who commits sinful activities can get punished. Anyone, even if we're walking on the streets and we kill an ant by walking, we may not be aware that we are making this mistake, but nature's laws are irrevocable. So we are all in a dangerous position. In every moment there is danger of committing sins. Even if we believe in the scriptures or we don't, we're still under the laws of nature, which are very, very strict. Krishna's material nature has very stringent laws. So although being a devotee, Yamaraj had to be cursed this way, and he's actually this apparent punishment was also a reward for him. So when a devotee gets punished, the punishment is also like a reward. We mentioned earlier that Yamaraj is so busy punishing sinful beings in hell that he doesn't have time to preach, he doesn't have time to participate in Krishna's pastime. So through Manduka Muni's curse, he took birth as Vidura, and he got the unique opportunity to participate in the pastimes of Lord Krishna, even in the Mahabharata. Even this curse became a blessing. For great devotees, even curses are blessings, by which they can get special spiritual privileges. So Vidura was born by the mercy of Vyasadeva from the maidservant of Ambika, the mother of Maharaj Pandu. Thus Vidura grew up as the younger brother of Pandu and Dhritarashtra, who were also born by the power of Vyasadeva. So, although low-born because of the curse, Vidura was a mine of good qualities and wisdom. He was such a staunch devotee of Lord Krishna. He was lovingly treated by Bhishma Dev, the grandsire of the dynasty, of the Kuru dynasty. Dhritarashtra also gave him sufficient property. Vidura was attached to Dhritarashtra, the blind king, and he acted as the reliable advisor of Dhritarashtra, and always tried, as Dharmaraj, he tried to guide him on the right path. And Vidura was also fortunate to hear Srimad Bhagavatam from a sage named Maitreya Muni. So Vidura himself then became a great teacher of moral and spiritual knowledge, and he inspired Dhritarashtra to take up the spiritual path. So Vidura, he spent 100 years on the earth. So Yamaraj, he was on this earth as Vidura for 100 years, after which he went back to his abode to resume his duties. And while he was on earth, the post of Yamaraj was shouldered by Aryama. So Aryama is a devotee who occupied the post of Yamaraj to punish those who had committed sinful acts. Aryama was one of the sons of sage Kashyapa and his wife Aditi. We know that Aditi and Kashyapa had 12 sons. The sons are called Adityas, and Aryama was one of the Adityas who took charge of the office of Yamaraj during the 100 years of absence. So that is the end of the session on Yamaraj, the great Mahajan, the 12th Mahajan of the series. Jai Shri Panchatattva, Jai Srila Prabhupada. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.